literally paying people up to $20,000 to move there right now. Free money just for relocating. Sounds like the deal of a lifetime, right? Wrong. There's a reason these cities are so desperate for residents that they're willing to pay you thousands of dollars. And it's not because they're hidden gems that nobody knows about. I've spent weeks researching these programs, reading the fine print, talking to people who actually took these deals, and analyzing the real conditions in these cities. And what I found is alarming. These aren't opportunities, they're traps. And the cities offering this money are banking on you not doing your homework before you pack up your life and move. So before you get seduced by that $20,000 check, you need to watch this entire video. Because what they're not telling you could cost you way more than 20 grand. Here are the 10 American cities paying people to move there in 2026, and the brutal truth about what you're really signing up for. Why cities are paying you to move. First, let's understand what's actually happening here. Cities across America are offering cash incentives, housing vouchers, student loan repayment, and other benefits to attract new residents. Some programs offer $10,000, others go as high as $20,000 or more. On the surface, this sounds amazing. Who wouldn't want free money to relocate? But here's the reality. Cities don't pay people to move there because everything's going great. They pay people because they're experiencing catastrophic population loss, economic decline, and a disappearing tax base. Think about it logically. If you own a business and had to pay people to become your customers, what would that tell you about your business? It would tell you that your product sucks and nobody wants it. The same logic applies to cities. When a city has to bribe people to live there, it's because the normal factors that attract residents, good jobs, safe neighborhoods, quality schools, affordable housing, and opportunity, aren't there. These programs come with strings attached. You usually have to stay for a minimum period, often 1 to 5 years. You have to buy property or commit to renting. Some require you to work remotely or start a business. If you leave early, you have to pay the money back. So you're not just taking free money, you're entering into a contract that could trap you in a declining city for years. But it gets worse. Because the hidden costs of living in these places often exceed the incentive money by a massive margin. Let's break down the 10 cities offering these deals, what they're promising, and what they're hiding. Starting with number 10. At number 10, Morgantown, West Virginia. Morgantown is offering remote workers up to $20,000 to relocate, plus outdoor recreation packages and other perks through the Ascend WV program. The pitch sounds great, small town charm, access to outdoor activities, and 20 grand in your pocket. What's not to love? Here's what they're not telling you. Morgantown exists almost entirely because of West Virginia University. Remove the university, and you have an economically depressed Appalachian town with limited opportunities. If you're not connected to the university, job opportunities are extremely limited. The local economy offers mostly low-wage service jobs. That's why they're targeting remote workers. There are no good local jobs to offer. West Virginia is the only state in America to lose population every single year for over a decade. There's a reason people are leaving, and it's not because they don't know about the beautiful mountains. The winters are harsh. The area is isolated. You're hours from any major city. Healthcare options beyond basic services are limited. Entertainment and cultural activities? Almost non-existent outside of university events. The drug crisis that has devastated West Virginia is present here too. Substance abuse rates are high, and the social problems that come with economic decline are everywhere. One person who took the incentive posted, moved to Morgantown for the $20,000. Lasted 18 months. The isolation and lack of anything to do got to me. Had to pay back a portion of the money, but it was worth it to leave. Should have researched better. Yes, Morgantown is pretty. Yes, you can hike and kayak. But if outdoor recreation is your only selling point, you're in trouble. And $20,000 doesn't compensate for limited opportunity, isolation, and economic stagnation. At number 9, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa offers $10,000 through the Tulsa Remote Program, which has gotten a lot of national attention. They've successfully brought in over 3,000 remote workers. The pitch: affordable cost of living, growing tech scene, cultural attractions, and 10 grand cash. Here's the reality. Tulsa is affordable because demand to live there is low. And there are specific reasons for that. Oklahoma has some of the most extreme weather in America. Tornadoes are a regular threat. Severe thunderstorms, hail, and dangerous weather are common from March through October. Your insurance costs will reflect this risk. The political climate is extremely conservative, which is fine if that aligns with your values, but it's created an environment where many young professionals and diverse populations don't feel welcome. The state has passed increasingly restrictive social policies that have driven some demographics away. Tulsa's crime rate is significantly above the national average. Property crime is particularly bad. Car break-ins and theft are common. The education system in Oklahoma is consistently ranked among the worst in the nation. If you have kids or plan to, this matters enormously. Healthcare access is limited compared to major metros. Specialized medical care often requires travel. The culture is heavily oil and gas focused, which means the economy is volatile and subject to boom-bust cycles. The growing tech scene, they advertise, is tiny compared to actual tech hubs. A Tulsa remote participant shared, "The money was nice, but after a year I realized why they have to pay people. It's fine if you're single and just need cheap rent while working remotely, but I can't see building a long-term life here. Already planning my exit." Tulsa isn't the worst place on this list, but the $10,000 is compensation for accepting significant compromises. At number 8, Topeka, Kansas. Topeka is offering up to $15,000 to people who move there and work for a local employer, plus an additional $10,000 if you buy a house, potentially $25,000 total through the Choose Topeka program. Sounds amazing, right? $25,000 just for moving to Kansas's capital city? Here's what they don't tell you. Topeka is losing population and has been for years. The city peaked at 127,000 residents in 1990 and has dropped to under 125,000 today, despite 30-plus years of U.S. population growth. Why? Because Topeka is economically stagnant. The job market is dominated by government jobs and low-wage service work. If you're not working for the state or in healthcare, opportunities are severely limited. The crime rate in Topeka is concerning. Violent crime is significantly above the Kansas average, and property crime is rampant. Certain neighborhoods are genuinely dangerous. The city lacks the cultural amenities, restaurants, entertainment, and diversity you'd find in thriving metros. It's a small, isolated capital with limited appeal to young professionals. Kansas schools are underfunded after years of budget cuts. If education quality matters to you, this is a major issue. The weather is brutal. Topeka gets the full force of Tornado Alley, extreme heat in summer, bitter cold in winter, and very little pleasant weather in between. The city is 2 hours from Kansas City, which is infinitely more appealing. Many people who work in Topeka live elsewhere and commute because the quality of life is better in surrounding areas. One person who relocated said, "They paid me $15,000 to move here for a job. Within a year, I was job hunting in other cities. The money doesn't make up for how limited everything is. There's just nothing here." Topeka is offering big money because they're desperate. That desperation should tell you everything you need to know. At number 7, Rochester, New York. Rochester is offering up to $19,000 in combination packages through Greater ROC Remote, targeting remote workers. The pitch: affordable housing, cultural institutions, proximity to natural attractions, and almost 20 grand. The reality? Rochester is a classic Rust Belt city in severe decline. Rochester has lost over 35% of its population since 1950. Kodak, which once employed 60,000 people locally, now employs a few thousand. Xerox drastically downsized. The economic base that built this city is gone. Rochester has one of the highest poverty rates of any U.S. city at over 30%. 1 in 3 residents lives in poverty. Think about what that means for the overall environment, services, and opportunity. The crime rate is significantly above national averages. Certain neighborhoods have violence rates that rival much larger cities. The weather is absolutely miserable. Rochester gets over 100 inches of snow per year and holds the record for cloudiness, only 30% of possible sunshine annually. The gray, depressing winters last from November through April. The city has pockets of revitalization in certain neighborhoods, but vast areas remain economically depressed, abandoned, and dangerous. The tax burden in New York is crushing. Even though Rochester itself is affordable, you're paying some of the highest state and local taxes in America. Property taxes are over 2%, and you're subject to New York's high income tax. One remote worker who took the deal said, "The money got me here. The winter depression got me out. I've never experienced anything like Rochester winters. Dark, cold, and endless. Left after 14 months and forfeited some of the money. Worth it. Rochester is cheap for a reason. And $19,000 doesn't compensate for poverty, crime, weather, and economic decline. At number 6, Natchez, Mississippi. Natchez is offering remote workers $6,000 cash plus $2,500 in various incentives. $8,500 total through Shift South. The pitch: historic southern charm, low cost of living, beautiful antebellum architecture, and cash incentives. Here's the truth. Natchez is in Mississippi, which ranks last in almost every quality of life metric in America. Natchez has been losing population for decades, dropping from 23,000 in 1980 to barely 14,000 today. That's a 40% population loss. The city is slowly dying. The poverty rate is 36%. Over 1/3 of residents live in poverty. The median household income is just $32,000. This is extreme economic depression. Job opportunities are virtually non-existent. The local economy is based on tourism to historic homes and river traffic. If you're not working remotely, there's nothing here for you. Mississippi has the worst public schools in America. Healthcare access is extremely limited. Specialized care requires traveling hours to Jackson or Louisiana. The infrastructure is crumbling. Many streets are in terrible condition, and basic services are stretched impossibly thin due to the collapsing tax base. Crime rates are elevated, particularly violent crime. For such a small town, the crime statistics are concerning. The social environment is deeply traditional and conservative. If you're looking for diversity, progressive values, or cosmopolitan culture, this is not it. One person who considered the program said, "I looked at Natchez seriously because I love historic architecture. But when I visited, the poverty was shocking. Entire blocks of abandoned buildings. Streets in terrible condition. It felt like a place that time forgot, and not in a charming way. Decided the $8,500 wasn't worth it." Natchez is offering money because they're desperate to stop the population freefall. But money can't fix systemic poverty, lack of opportunity, and decline. At number 5, Marquette, Michigan. Marquette is offering remote workers $2,500 cash plus $7,500 in community perks. What they're not telling you: Marquette is one of the most isolated cities in America. It's in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, 6 hours from Detroit, 7 hours from Chicago, in the middle of absolutely nowhere. The winters are legendary, and not in a good way. Marquette averages 200 inches of snow per year. 200 inches. That's over 16 feet of snow. Winter lasts from October through April, 7 months. The temperature regularly drops below zero. The sun barely comes out. Seasonal affective disorder is epidemic. The economy is almost entirely based on Northern Michigan University and tourism. Job opportunities are extremely limited if you're not working remotely or for the university. The population is tiny, just 20,000 people, and it's not growing. Young people leave the moment they graduate because there are no career opportunities. Healthcare is basic at best. Anything beyond routine care requires traveling hours to larger cities. Emergency situations can be life-threatening given the isolation and weather. The cost of living might be low for housing, but utilities are astronomical. Heating a home through a 7-month winter with temperatures below zero is incredibly expensive. Social and cultural opportunities are minimal. The dating pool is tiny. Shopping requires driving hours or ordering everything online. One person who moved there said, "I'm an outdoor enthusiast and thought Marquette would be paradise. The first winter nearly broke me. By February, I hadn't seen the sun in weeks. Snow was piled higher than my car. I was going crazy from isolation. Left after one winter." If you're not someone who genuinely thrives in extreme isolation, darkness, and cold, Marquette will destroy your mental health. And $10,000 in community perks won't fix that. At number 4, Harmony, Minnesota. Harmony is offering $12,000 to people who build or buy a home in this tiny town through their housing incentive program. The pitch: small town America, low cost of living, safe community, tight-knit neighbors. The reality: Harmony has 1,000 residents. 1,000 people. This isn't a small town, it's a village. Harmony is in the middle of rural Minnesota, an hour from Rochester and over 2 hours from Minneapolis. You are completely isolated. There are virtually no jobs locally. The economy is agricultural. If you're not farming, working remotely, or retired, there is literally nothing for you. The closest grocery store of any size requires a 30-minute drive. Shopping, entertainment, healthcare beyond a basic clinic, everything requires driving significant distances. The winters are brutal. Minnesota cold with heavy snow from November through March. You need a serious vehicle and winter survival skills. The social environment is extremely limited. With 1,000 residents, mostly older farming families, the dating pool is non-existent. Cultural diversity is non-existent. If you're not from a rural agricultural background, you will feel like an alien. Schools are tiny and offer minimal programs. If you have kids with any special needs or interests, forget it. The internet infrastructure in rural Minnesota is often terrible. If you're working remotely, you might struggle with connectivity, which defeats the entire purpose. One person who looked into the program said, "I'm from a small town, so I thought 1,000 people would be fine. But when I visited Harmony, I realized how truly isolated it is. There's nothing there. It's fields and 1,000 people. That's it. $12,000 isn't worth being that cut off from the world." Harmony is for people who want to completely disconnect from modern society. For 99% of people, it would be psychological torture. The money is compensation for accepting an extreme lifestyle most people can't sustain. At number 3, Lincoln, Kansas. Lincoln is offering free land, yes, free residential lots, to people who will build a home within a specified time frame. The pitch, free land. Build your dream home for free. What they don't tell you, Lincoln, Kansas has 1,200 residents and is dying. They're giving away land because nobody wants to live there. Lincoln is in north-central Kansas, an hour from anywhere that matters. The nearest city of any size is Salina, population 46,000, which itself isn't exactly thriving. There are no jobs in Lincoln. None. The local economy is agricultural and that's it. You must work remotely or be retired. The free land requires you to build a home within 1 year and live there for at least 2 years. Building a home costs $200,000 to $400,000 minimum. So the free land costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars in construction. The town has 1 grocery store, 1 gas station, minimal services. For anything beyond basics, you're driving 30 to 60 minutes. Schools are tiny and under-resourced. Healthcare is a clinic. Anything serious requires significant travel. The social environment is extremely insular. Newcomers are often viewed with suspicion in these tiny Kansas towns. If you're not from there, you'll always be an outsider. The weather is harsh, Tornado Alley in spring and summer, bitter cold in winter, extreme heat, and humidity in summer. Kansas has some of the worst-funded public services in America after years of tax cuts. Roads, schools, infrastructure, everything is deteriorating. One person who considered it, free land sounds amazing until you realize why it's free. Lincoln is in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do, no jobs, and no future. They're trying to stop the town from disappearing entirely. Hard pass. Free land is worthless if it's in a place where you can't build a life. Lincoln is offering it because the alternative is becoming a literal ghost town. At number 2, Curtis, Nebraska. Curtis is offering free lots valued at $15,000 plus potential housing rehabilitation grants through their population attraction program. The pitch, free land, small town values, Nebraska's wide open spaces. The reality, Curtis has 850 residents and is 200 miles from any significant city. Let that sink in. You would be 200 miles from civilization. Curtis exists because of the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture. Without that school, the town would be completely dead. There are 0 job opportunities unless you work for the college or are farming. 0. The nearest Walmart is 45 minutes away. The nearest actual city is 4 hours. You are as isolated as you can possibly be in the continental United States. The winters are brutal. Nebraska cold with wind chill that can hit -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Summer is oppressively hot and humid. The weather is extreme and unpleasant most of the year. The social environment is beyond limited. With 850 people, mostly older farming families and college staff, there is no social scene whatsoever. Healthcare is non-existent. There's a small clinic, but anything beyond basics requires driving hours. In an emergency, you're in serious trouble. The internet infrastructure is terrible. Rural Nebraska has some of the worst connectivity in America. Remote work might be genuinely impossible. cultural activities, entertainment, restaurants, dating. Forget all of it. You would be living in true isolation. One person said, "I researched Curtis because free land sounds amazing. Then I looked at where it actually is on a map and laughed. You'd have to pay Emmy a lot more than $15,000 to live 200 miles from the nearest real town." Curtis is offering free land because they're desperate to not disappear. But for anyone who values connection to the modern world, this would be a prison sentence. And at number 1, Gary, Indiana has discussed various incentive programs to attract residents, including potential housing vouchers and business incentives. The pitch: proximity to Chicago, affordable housing, redevelopment potential. The reality: Gary is one of the most dangerous, declined, and abandoned cities in America. It's urban decay at its absolute worst. Gary has lost 60% of its population since 1960, dropping from 178,000 to barely 69,000 today. The city is full of abandoned buildings, empty lots, and streets that look like war zones. The crime rate is catastrophic. Gary consistently ranks in the top 10 most dangerous cities in America. Violent crime rates are over 3 times the national average. Murder, robbery, assault, crime is absolutely rampant. Over 13,000 structures sit abandoned and rotting. 1 in 5 buildings is empty. Entire neighborhoods are ghost towns. The poverty rate is 33%. The median household income is under $35,000. The unemployment rate is consistently higher than national averages. The school system is failing. Infrastructure is crumbling. The tax base has collapsed, so the city can barely provide basic services. Gary is 30 miles from Chicago, which sounds good until you realize the commute is miserable and nobody from Chicago would ever consider living in Gary. The environmental contamination from decades of steel manufacturing is severe. Health issues related to pollution are common. No amount of money should convince anyone to move to Gary. The city is in catastrophic decline with no realistic path to recovery. One person said it best: Gary should pay you $20,000 per year to live there, not just $20,000 total. Even then, it wouldn't be worth it. The city is genuinely dangerous and depressing. Gary offering incentives to move there is like offering someone money to jump into a burning building. The incentive doesn't change the reality. It's a disaster. So there you have it. 10 American cities offering money to move there, and the brutal truth about what you're actually signing up for. Notice the pattern. Every single one of these places is experiencing population loss, economic decline, isolation, or extreme quality of life compromises. Cities with thriving economies, growing populations, and high quality of life don't need to pay people to move there. People are fighting to get in. These programs aren't opportunities. They're desperate attempts to stop population freefall and tax base collapse. And they're banking on you being seduced by the money without doing the research. Here's the reality: the hidden costs of living in these places, limited opportunity, isolation, crime, poor schools, terrible weather, lack of healthcare, declining property values, will exceed that $10,000 or $20,000 many times over. You'll be stuck in a place you hate, contractual obligated to stay, watching your quality of life decline while that cash incentive evaporates on higher costs, lost opportunities, and depreciated property. And when you finally leave, forfeiting some or all of the incentive money, you'll realize that money was compensation for accepting a terrible situation, not a bonus for finding a hidden gem. Now, does that mean nobody should take these deals? Not necessarily. If you're retired, have no kids, work fully remotely, love extreme isolation, and genuinely prefer tiny towns with harsh weather, maybe some of these places could work for you. But for 95% of people, especially young professionals, families with kids, or anyone who values opportunity, culture, and quality of life, these are traps disguised as opportunities. Before you take any of these deals, visit the place. Spend a week there in winter. Talk to actual residents, not the Chamber of Commerce. Research crime rates, school quality, healthcare access, job markets, and why population is declining. Because once you sign that contract, you're stuck. And getting out will cost you more than the incentive was ever worth. If you found this video valuable, smash that subscribe button. I cut through the BS to give you the real truth about living in America. Have you taken one of these incentive deals? Drop your experience in the comments. Am I being too harsh, or am I spot on? Thanks for watching. Remember, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. and cities paying you to live there are definitely too good to be true.